Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and today we're going to be reviewing The Sickness. This one did not get ordered as much as I thought it would. People are already saying it's going to be huge. People are selling their copies online for way more than list price. I think that's absolutely understandable. It's created by, I have to check the first name because I always forget, art by Jenna Char, story and script to Jenna Char and Lonnie Nadler. I also get Lonnie's first name. I like Lonnie Nadler. I've liked him since I first encountered him working for, I think it was Aftershock Comics. And to be honest, he's not done anything I've really disliked since then. And I always kind of have half an eye on him. When he puts stuff out on Twitter, I pay attention. Instagram, the same kind of thing. And when he talked about doing a horror book, I was like, yeah, okay, go on. So I heard he did some good stuff for Razor Blades. Sadly, a magazine we can't get in this country, or at least not easily. So I was like, yeah, cool, fair play, mate. I'm going to give this one a shot. I didn't really know much about Gemma Chow, but I poked around a little bit, found out some stuff she did, and yeah, I mean, solid, 100% solid artwork. So I went in this with high expectations, and I'm going to start by telling you the biggest problem with this comic book, in fact the only problem with this comic book. It's frustratingly only one issue out right now, and I don't mean that lightly. I'm not saying like, oh man, why do we have to wait a month between comic books? I'm saying that genuinely, I personally feel like I would have a lot more fun with this one if I was reading it as a collection. Now, I can see why they have released it slowly. There is definitely stuff to build up to. This is a story of slow, creeping, unsettling dread, and everything about it screams that kind of thing. So doing it on a monthly basis feels like it would be the right idea, but they are also telling two different narratives, or at least what seem to be two different narratives, 10 years apart, which seem to have some connective tissue, but they've not really explained exactly what that connective tissue is just yet. So when we got to the end of issue 1, my desire to read the rest of it wasn't because I simply couldn't wait for the next issue. It was because I felt like there was something I just wasn't getting. I just wasn't 100% there yet. And if I'd have read it all in one go, I could have taken my time with it. I would not have rushed through this. I would have taken achingly long time over every single panel to really get to grips with what's going on, but I just want that little bit of extra information. Now, that is a criticism which has to be said up front, because I'm now going to be effusive in my praise for every single thing this comic book does. Because it is sinister, unsettling, creeping dread of the highest degree. It is, on no uncertain terms, inspired by, at least I'm guessing, the work of Junji Ito in terms of the art styling and even the storyteller styling. It is a high compliment indeed to say that. I'm really hoping that the people who created this aren't looking and going, no, we're doing it. I hope you don't take any offence by me saying this. I think it is a high compliment. It reminded me of that very early on. It's helped by that, by having black and white artwork with really good cross-hatching. Now, I have criticised cross-hatching in the past, because I think in colour comic books, especially digitally coloured comic books, it looks like you can't be bothered shading. This is not the case here. It adds depth to the shading, because there is there. It's not just like black on white. There is greys, there is gradients. The cross-hatching adds so much to it. It is done with an artistic flair that you just don't often see with cross-hatching. Like I say, it's usually done because it's not quick and easy. It takes some time to do it, but it feels like it's a way of doing shading without having to learn how to do shading. This is not the case. They have mastered it, and it looks fantastic. It's also deeply unsettling. They have a theme of perception from very early on, and how it is warped by things we don't understand. And how uncomfortably it's done as well. We start with somebody in a diner looking out across the window, and a kid licks his hand and wipes stuff, or maybe even licks them, I can't remember, but phlegm across in a line. And this becomes this weird focal point for the entire first sequence. Even though we're not looking at it all the time, it is always there, and it's dripping, and there's way more of it than you would expect. And when he looks out and you can see it's been wiped clear, so you can see in one window and see a figure there, and then the next, it's been wiped all the way across because the figure's down a different window, and it's done in that way. And then there's somebody downstairs, and the person behind the person downstairs is the guy who's in the upstairs window, and it's all seen through this weird miasma as the person seeing it clearly is uncomfortable, doesn't know what's going on. Brilliant. I don't need to know what's going on with this. This is the point of slow burn horror. I'm sure this will be paid off by the end, because it is thrillingly mundane. They're having a conversation about making fishing lures in I want to say 45, and they're all riffing on each other really badly. I kind of like the fact that this is like the Greatest Generation, and they are absolute dicks to each other. The same way that everyone is through all time. Kids have always been bad. They've always not shown respect to their elders. Stuff like this carries on all the time, and it's a really, really good example of it. The other story set 10 years later, starting with the scene of a multiple murder. And it's, again, a little bit of mundanity. It's a doctor who lives nearby where this happened, and he's trying to find out what's going on. And it is very cold and clinical, his description of what's going on. The interview with the woman by a police officer feels like it's happening in another world, separate from the events of the comic book. I love it. I love everything about it. There is some fantastically gruesome things that happen later on as well, which I'm not going to spoil for you. But when it comes to the end, I'm again reminded of, like, I want to know why this is the way it is. Just a little bit more information, and it could have been a perfect comic book. Now, I don't like the idea of looking for something to be nothing but perfect. Perfect is the enemy of good. I will say this is strong contender for in my best of the year already, and I cannot wait for the rest of it. I really hope we don't get too many delays. I really hope this comes out monthly, because I cannot wait to see how it pans out. I am in love with this comic book. I can see why people are paying over the odds for it on eBay. I'm glad we ordered spares, because I think this is going to fly off our shelves. That's it from me for today. I'll be back with more reviews the rest of the week. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.